And we have started. So welcome to the BOD meeting for June 11th, 2025. Obviously, if you all are here, you've managed to find the Zoom link. We hit it super well by posting it publicly. So first thing is meeting call to order. For attendance, I have myself, Ginger Conrad, Leon Starks, Royce Griffith, Carl Craig, and for guest attendance, I have Brian Oulet. First item on the agenda is reading of the minutes of the last meeting. So we'll jump over to this screen over here on the left. The last meeting, we welcomed our new monarch, Royce. Welcome, Royce. The monarch provided credit. Royce freed up a position as they were no longer our treasurer, so our alternate Athena stepped up and became our treasurer. We then covered our reminders from the last meeting about directors, officers of insurance, about how many years we want to average for budgeting purposes, and CEO, CFO change potentially drafted an item for Alding item, and contract updates for Ethereal, Hollow, Starnhearth, and then later we talked about Anduril contract update. Talked about the California tax exempt status. The fact is it was submitted, but still pending determination from California. We talked about an emergency event plan template, which is now posted on our wiki page for all to find. We discussed about reaching out to talk to the King City Council to see whether or not they could apply some pressure to the County of Monterey about the San Lorenzo site. This became less of an issue because we're not using the San Lorenzo site in November or September, October, but it may be still something we want to look into. We discussed about who is authorized to give out donation receipts on behalf of Westmarch. We have 4 booklets. The answer is that really it's the BOD are the people who are allowed to do this. We talked about merch sales, and Royce, I know you've been working on some of that in the background, getting merch sales set up through our IT group and getting some
Our
merchandise
IT
setting up.
group's been doing it because they're amazing.
Yep. We talked about seller's permit and getting that done, and ways we can quickly find sales tax in various locations when we sell things. Uh, yep. Leon Stark is graciously, I should say, donating a Square device, which would allow us to accept credit cards on site. And I know they've been working with the IT group for the logistics of that. We had a couple of walk-on items. One was update the statement of information for the Secretary of State. Next was reviewing of the Dark Shore post-event review form. Nope, I see Athena has arrived. And then we had a discussion about corporeal laws versus bylaws and how different kingdoms separate them out or don't separate them out. We then did our final schedule and we adjourned. Athena, let me make sure I get your name added to our attendance. That covers the meeting minutes of last meeting. Does anybody else wish to discuss them further?
Motion to close.
Okay, let's move along then. Okay, Royce, it's been a month now. We figured we should do a check-in to see whether or not you still want to be monarch.
Don't ever do it.
Okay, well, we welcome you still for this.
I put a motion for. Never mind.
That's not a BOD item. Um, the next question is the monarch providing credit for this meeting?
Yes.
Perfect. That'd be good because I see you already logged it in. Okay, most of the next items are all kind of reminders that I'm just carrying forward slowly to try and make sure they mostly don't fall off of my plate. So the first was the directors and officers insurance. I actually included that in this meeting. This is really just an update to the previous Alding item. I broke it down a little bit into just different tiers that we could vote on. It might make more sense to instead just make it this a single item and just go like with the D&O and event coverage and general liability. Those 3 are kind of the most important for us, whereas the accident and medical coverage are additional coverages above and beyond kind of our general liability and cover some additional items. Primarily, the accident coverage will cover medical bills for parties that are injured more than the general liability. And then there's also medical payment coverage, which covers additional things that are not covered under the other types. And then there's also the hired and owned automobile liability. This was proposed because this should also cover our trailer transport rather than just making sure that the person who's transporting the trailer for us has coverage. This would also cover us. And at $250 a year, it seemed worth talking about at the very least. Yeah. But yeah, as I said, mostly that is just a reminder. I'll finish refining out Alding. Leon, when are Aldings due this month? Probably the 20th?
That sounds about right. Give me 3 seconds to look at my calendar. It would be 16th.
That's a Monday.
Yes, it's the all thing has to run Monday to Monday. That's 2 weeks out.
But the Aldings are on weekends.
Yes. So it's the week of the 16th.
Okay. Actually, technically, I should say get to the Monarch. The next thing was how many years we want to cover on average for budgeting purposes on an event. This has really been me on to updating the BOD handbook. Unfortunately, the BOD handbook that's actually on the wiki is a PDF, and it doesn't look like Brian or I actually have the original Word document version, so this actually become a little bit more difficult to update than planned.
Did you get the Word document that I sent over?
Yes, but it looks to be different than the one up on the webpage. So,
Yeah, that was the working one that we started a while back.
okay, yeah. So I'm now reviewing the new one. I didn't get it done, unfortunately, for this meeting. So that I'll
I
continue
didn't
doing.
get it done over 2 years, so fair.
Yeah. The CEO CFO change. So there was talk a while back about drafting an Alding item to do this. Is there still desire? Really, this is like I'm looking at you on this one, Royce.
It's if somebody's willing to do it, it's not a big deal. It takes all of about 10 minutes to update the form.
Yes. If you, me, or Brian continue to be in these types of positions for the next several years, it's not much of an issue.
Or even if somebody just says, "Hey, can you do this?"
Yeah. So okay. Oh, this should actually say contract updates with Ethereal Hauler, Stonehearth, and Andrel. Make sure I got that spelled right. Nope, I did not. It's RIL. So Ethereal Hauler and Stonehearth, busy getting everybody's emails addresses together so we can actually that's not right. Getting everybody's email addresses so we can actually send that out through like Adobe DocuSign or another option. Looks like there might be some potential free options if I have everybody's emails. So we'll deal with that. Currently, I believe I'm just actually pending Bear's email address to get that sent out. Then we also have the California tax exempt status. This is no change, which is we're still pending determination from the state of California. As far as our actual new items, there was only 2 items really to talk about today. So the first was something that Royce actually asked for. I've got to put your name here, which was the Westmarch Kingdom and land contract / independence. So a lot of this comes about because there's a whole question about how independent are the lands from the Kingdom of Westmarch. Now, this is not from the game perspective. This is from the corporation perspective, right? This is
Yes.
an item that kind of started last month a bit when we were talking with Jason and about land contracts and who actually has it, who can take money, and all of that fun jazz.
Well, it also had to do with we had a land asked about using the EIN so they could get a bank account because the one they had used when their old bank account was set up looks like it was AntGuard before it was AI. It looked like it was that FEIN.
Yes.
And so they're having issues getting a bank account set up because they can't do anything with the one they have now because that is a defunct FIN and they can't do anything with it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very much they are, especially if they're trying to use the Westmarch EIN, right? They are operating on behalf of the name of Westmarch. A board member can do that for them. My recommendation would be we do it similar to how other kind of corporations do a lot of this. So I know I sent over, give me 1 second. Let me pause sharing so I don't accidentally do something I don't want to do. I sent over how the Girl Scouts do this, which is they actually have like an online request form.
Yeah, I didn't look at it.
Yeah, let me go.
It's been a busy week.
Yep, I feel you. I feel you. Where is? Oh, that's the wrong. Give me 1 second. Oh, of course it opens it. Sure, I'll use Bing for this, I guess. That way I don't have to worry about revealing anything. So this is the Girl Scouts of North America. Let me unpause this. So this is the Girl Scouts of North America. The form is for requesting to open a Girl Scout bank account, change signatures on the bank account. So this is what I was talking about if they want to open an account or if they want to change who has the ability to manage that account. So kind of like how we, every single time we change treasurer or prime minister, we have to do a board vote. This is how they're doing it for their sub accounts, right? And you have to do the complete form and you have to say, new bank account. You have to fill in, the troop name, the signatories you want, do an electronic signature.
You're gonna go walking.
And all of this information kind of gets, I'm assuming, pushed to the Girl Scouts themselves, and they set this up or they reach out and handle this. So that's how they're doing it.
And that makes sense. It's just with the land issue that they're having, and it's probably going to become more of an issue as as our lands finally update their bank accounts.
Most lands do not have bank accounts.
That's fair. The ones that do have bank accounts.
I was actually going to say, I was trying to remember exactly what we have in our Kapora of what level of lands actually have bank accounts.
I think it's Dutch. Duchy has to be the one that starts having
Yeah, I
it.
think it's Dutchy.
Duchy and above can confirm.
Is that true?
Thus it got removed. It should have been.
Because I actually thought it was
Is it just principality?
Principality, because they have to start operating as a nonprofit and have like a post office box and stuff like that. But even even here, it doesn't even say bank.
Yeah, none of them mentioned bank account.
I think this got removed a while back.
I know it used to be there.
Yes, and I thought it was Duchy and above as well. Because I know, like, the whole purpose kind of is a principality is starting to become its own corporation. That's why they have to start operating as a nonprofit. And, obviously, as part of that, they set up a bank account and everything. But until they are that level, they don't really have a bank account.
Well, we have a land that has a bank account that would like to update their bank account, and they can't update the old one because of IEN reasons. And so they ask if they could use ours to set up a bank account.
Yeah, so if they, as far as I can tell, based upon how, the wording in the Kapora works, which is because it's an external entity, the board of directors is the ones who has to set it up. And, we can assign someone there as like a signer on it, kind of like how we do with the treasurer. But ultimately, like, it's in our corporate name, unless they want to go out and get a corporate ID number.
Yeah, I don't think they want to do that.
Yeah. Section 10. Board of directors.
All right,
Yeah,
so,
deal with any government or outside agency. Yeah, it's 10.111. Makes it
so
pretty
basically
clear.
one of us has to do it.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. That was just getting some kind of clarification on that wasn't in Facebook Messenger while we're all trying to work those.
Sounds good. Yeah, it makes sense. So I
And
will
then we
just
probably need to update relatedly with the contract / independence. We probably need to update our land contracts based off last month's discussion.
Yeah, that is going to be a whole thing because we're going to have to get that pushed into the Capora and then re-push to every land to re-sign the contracts. I do agree that our land contracts should be better. Like, even if you just look at the freehold contract, it has better detailed language than we do.
Well, and realistically, that one may not be an issue when we say, look, Amtgard International brought it to our attention that we need to fix our contracts.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about pushing it through the populace and more about the amount of work it's going to take for us to get there.
Yeah.
Because, for example, here is again, the freehold contract. It's 5 pages long. It is written in actual legalese. My recommendation is that if we're actually going to update the contract, we at the very least get it reviewed by a lawyer in some capacity. I think that is a good suggestion.
Hear me out.
Uh,
We print that to a Word document. We Control H and replace Amtgard International with West.
yeah, I'm sure they'll work amazing. Um, Update this to be 2025. But something like this, because what this does is this very clearly what it says what it grants to the licensee, which is the land, about how they can use trademark and copyright, and some other additional information. And then it talks about like some of the things that like in here about distributing publications. We could probably get rid of this. Obviously, we're not granting. I guess we are sub-granting permission for the AmpCard name slash trademark that they're using it through Westmarch, and Westmarch has a contract like this.
Mhm.
So there's definitely some work to be done here. And then there's the question about transference,
It was
right?
up a little bit, actually. Stop. Agreement binding on successors.
Yeah, shall be binding on and shall ensure the benefit of the party to their heirs, administrators, successors, and assignees. Well, heirs would be upon like death, transfer to families, unless somebody puts somebody else in the will of like I transfer Belial Peaks.
Yes, but the administrators and successors.
Yeah. But the question is about updating the administrator. Like, what is that paperwork? Is it just be like, I'm out, you're it? And then how do we, Westmarch, know when that occurs to know, you know, who is the person? So I think it just needs to be, a little one page, like, this is the new, monarch who is, representative on all contracts or whatever for the land. And here's the new prime minister. And, it's a little one pager or something like that when those transfer. It is paperwork that the board of directors would probably have to deal with.
We just hold all coronations at the two Westmarch events throughout the year. Do grand courts, everybody steps up, signs their agreements, boom, problem solved.
Yeah. Especially if it comes with like a bank account, right? Because we'd have to transfer the bank account between each person.
Well,
So I agree that there's some work that should be done there, but I think I don't know when we're going to be able to get around to that work is my bigger concern, right? Guess I should probably actually distinguish those colors. Okay. Is there any more fun we want to talk about kingdom land contracts and independence?
let's close.
Okay, let's move along. So this next item is an optional. So Athena, if you just say, I am not ready for this, this will be a really short item. Darkshore updates.
I guess I'm not 100% sure still what updates. Is it just, hey, I've turned over the paperwork?
I mean, if the answer is all the paperwork is done and, I want to talk about it now, that here it is. Otherwise, I'll put it on next month's meeting. If you just want to go, I had some questions or whatever, here's I put it on the agenda so you have a ability to talk about. Oh, Milan has his hand raised. Yes, Milan.
Dark Shore is happening. at potentially a new site. This is
No.
not
Feast
a
of Gods.
Oh, my apologies. Never mind. I'll shut up.
Go away, Milan. Okay.
Okay, bye.
So this basically what we did with Feast of Gods last year. I attended the meeting. I say we, even though I was part of the board of directors. It was like, okay, this is what was still pending. This was the overall what the event made, and kind of a quick breakdown of the status of the paperwork and stuff.
Yeah, so quickly in just so kind of you're aware, like so the War of the Dark Shore, there's a couple of things in here. There's a couple of places in the Kapora. It's all under kind of the section 7 for what you have to do. So one of them is the maintenance of the Dark Shore Castle must be performed by the autocrat prior to returning the equipment. You have 45 days from the end of the event to repair or maintain the castle. Okay.
Oh, I
Yep.
didn't know about that. I mean, I didn't think it needed repairs, thankfully.
So if the answer is it doesn't need repair, then good job, you repaired it.
Woo! We returned it. Great job.
Okay.
Didn't we approve the audit form 2 months ago or whatever for post events?
Yes. And so I was going to get to that in a second when I talk about the next section. So this next section is just in the general Westmarch event section. It talks about that's the bids. And where was it? I know it's in here. Was it in the event funding section? It talks about the autocrat is responsible. Yeah, Westmarch event autocrats are responsible for keeping within a reasonable budget so as not to lose money. And if a planned expenditure exceeds the previous year's income or event, an all-in vote may be held to excite additional funding. And then at the discretion of the bid team, up to $400 of profit can be retained for the next event, for future events. So, yeah.
Did you fill out the forms? What this comes down to?
Yep. Oh, there we go. Nope, yes. So really what this comes down to is I will just show you here. If I just go to the Amtgard wiki. Okay, this will work. And you go to Westmarch BOD. And you click on events. Here is the post-event review form under our events. And this will give you this form when it eventually opens. And just basically, if you fill out the form, which hopefully you already have, yeah, there we go. And it basically covers everything that we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. What are the other agenda items for today, or is this it? Because like,
This is basically it.
Okay.
You're still within your 45-day period. It
Yes.
actually fell after this meeting, so that's why it's optional this time.
Yes.
I see. The actual date was like the 22nd.
Yeah, something like that.
That sounds about right. It's 45 days from the end of the event, which was
the 4th. Or no, sorry, I'm sorry.
the 12th, the
The
11th.
12th.
Yeah.
11th.
So
Words.
it's like, 7, 14, 21, 27. Okay, now I'm doing math. Yeah, so yeah, I think it roughly places you around the 22nd or 29th.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
intended to have it done
days.
today, and I just every time I come back to it again,
29.
I'm like, oh yeah, okay, it's just a couple things. It should be good, and then more confusion pops up. I'm just like, God damn it.
100%. Yeah,
Well, you are the first person to use the form, so that's understandable.
Well, it's not the form so much. I'm also using the spreadsheet for like Olana's example, and I do love the structure of it. I'm just also realizing more stuff where I'm like, wait a second, we had these purchases with Sia Amtgard, but only these many showed up. Okay, these are the ones who didn't attend, and oh wait, now I have too many. I'm trying to make basically all the numbers match up. And I could give you the raw numbers, which I have already discussed in the last meeting of here's how much we made. But otherwise, the rest of the minutia, which seems to be a new standard, I do not have nailed down.
yeah. Mostly we the board of directors are just really making sure the money is accounted for and that you didn't embezzle a bunch of money.
Right. I mean, I can openly acknowledge that I did get overpaid on one item. I've just been extremely devastatingly impoverished. But it was by a matter of $64.17, which I will be able to pay back here shortly. But I'm going on recording to publicly acknowledge, yes, I was overpaid and I owe the kingdom a little bit of money.
Yeah, and that's fine. Um, like we understand that during an event, a lot of stuff is held as like floating receipts, and money comes into an account and out, and it becomes very complicated. That's why we
Mhm.
give 45 days. We don't say the week after to try and
Right.
give us a little accounting. So that's why this topic was really just to make sure like you had the resources you would needed, that there weren't any points of confusion. If there were points of confusion, we could discuss about them. Um,
Hmm.
and then it sounds like you kind of have everything in hand, and you're getting it figured out. So whenever that 45 days is up, which I think is sometime the end of this month,
Hmm.
um,
I will
like
come.
if you can get that over to Leon, because really it's the prime minister who's going to look at it. Not only be the treasurer, but you are the treasurer now.
Yeah.
So
So indeed, I will send that over. I'll coordinate with Leon for the best means of sending that. I think probably best for me to email the Westmarch email just so that way it's accessible from everyone as well, with the attached version of the spreadsheets and the form completed, and then we can review those in detail next meeting. I'm sorry I couldn't do it this one. I intended to. Boo.
no, that's perfectly fine. As I said, it's not required for this meeting. That's why this was optional.
I
Okay,
know.
so
Takes you less than 6 months, we'll be happy.
Yeah.
ooh, okay.
Oops, I didn't realize my mic was on.
Um, so I'll just say still in work, continuing apace. Perfect. Oh, I forgot. Apparently, I dropped off the walk-on items. Wow, I really did a number on this one, didn't I? Um,
I need to exit and come back. My computer's having serious issues today.
that's
So
okay.
sorry, y'all. Back soon.
Okay, walk-on items. Does anybody have any walk-on items that they would like to discuss?
I don't know if we talked about last meeting, but we're getting Fog's insurance through the site once they finally send us the contract.
You'd said that. Hey, Milan.
Hey, should we do the on recording thing about the IRS call?
Oh, if you want to.
Uh, the IRS has yet to add us to the master list as a nonprofit organization. I believe Dash and Sebastian deserve credit for noticing that. They were doing a lot of work on
That's
trying to take advantage of our nonprofit organization.
that's all
And
Sebastian.
all right, well, it's Dash and Sebastian. And so I made a call this morning to the IRS, talked to two different people, and they have not updated the master list, as Sebastian accurately pointed out, in over 2 months. They said they put in the request and that it will be processed within 6 weeks, and we will receive a letter in the mail when it is done. So, yet again, we'll say it's done, and maybe this time it'll be done.
So what this means is there's a lot of websites or corporations that the way they primarily check to see if a corporation is in fact a 501c3, like they say they are, is they go look at either the IRS Master Business File or Publication 78. Both of these are published by the IRS. Unfortunately, Publication 78 has not been updated since the 10th of March. And we got our approval like the 13th of March. So it's a little unfortunate on the timing. So we just aren't on the one, and it looks like it's primarily just between tax season and the IRS facing so many layoffs recently that they haven't been able to update these lists. So this just means that a lot of various softwares and things like that, we have not been able to get the 501c3 discounts. Specifically, I was looking at Adobe's, they don't do it, or a bunch of places that allow you to do charitable donations to a 501c3. This is where they look as well. So it's delaying us a little bit on that area.
But it's on its pathway to be fixed.
You said told 6 weeks? That we should be updated in 6 weeks, or that they were going to send us a letter about updating it?
Both. It should be processed within 6 weeks. And they said within 6 weeks, which means 7 weeks probably, right? And that we will also get a letter stating that it's been completed within 6 weeks.
Okay. Sounds good. Does anybody else have any other walk-on items that they would like to discuss?
Not a BOD item, but everybody that's in this meeting, I humbly request that you make a post on Facebook or Discord about excitement for the upcoming Feast of the Gods.
Okay.
I definitely have been doing those.
Yeah,
Sort
but
of,
nobody listens to you. We're talking about important people.
right?
Also, another not BOD thing, but Crimson Woods hosting the Dunes Day over in Bodega Bay. It is super fun. I recommend everyone come. It's on June 21st.
Dunes Day is close at hand. I'll book the marching band to play as you speak.
Hell yeah.
Wait, when did you say Dune Day was?
It's on June 21st, which also does happen to be on my birthday. So, you're all invited to my birthday party. So, you better come or I'll cry.
Happy birthday. I'm sorry to make you cry. I won't be there.
I will shed so many tears.
I'm not going to go to that because I'm coming out there for Flurb next month.
I am unfortunately out of the state. So
I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't know that I can afford it.
I will cry so many tears now. That's okay.
I
forgive you all.
didn't even hear about it until now. So
All the
unfortunately, I have
board
no
of
plan.
directors has abandoned you.
Where you been hiding, Sebastian?
I've been busy. Okay, so let's talk about schedule for the next month's meeting. Sometime in July. I would recommend at some point in July. So that is my
July
recommendation.
32nd.
That's
I
going to be a
recommend
little
16,
difficult to
23.
plan.
Can I recommend the 23 also? I second the 23.
23. Let me check my dates of my availability. 'Cause my life is crazy right now. Yep, I could do 23.
I am only available in the first half. I'm going to be on a cruise on the 20th onward.
Lucky.
So if you do, feel free to have it without me, but I can do for the most part all the times before that.
How come you didn't invite us?
Okay, so do we want to look at 16th then, team?
16th is barely okay, but I can do it.
17th, a little bit better for you?
No.
Oh, okay.
On the 17th.
17th sounds good.
Unfortunately, Dash doesn't sound like they're available on the 17th. Okay.
I'd be calling in from Vasco, and the cell service there is crap, so I can do the 16th.
Okay. 16th works bail for people then?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds reasonable. Okay, so we will do it July 16th at 6:30 p.m. Okay, sounds great. I'm going to stop the recording here in a second. If you all could hang on for one quick second once I find the recording button.